Viewers at home. At the moment, we are at Slovo Park. We were driving, following the rescue teams, but we saw that there are people who are gathered in a river that is nearby. And as you can see through our visuals, these are people who are here. They started coming here last week, searching for their loved ones and also trying to get their belongings, because when we spoke to some of the residents, they were saying that they are getting some of their belongings, including poles, and there are also people that are swimming in this river to go and fetch what is theirs on the other side of the river and bring it to this side where they are. But we do have one of the residents, Ms. Ubutsizwe, just to tell us about what they are hoping to achieve and what they have retrieved so far. Butsizwe, nithi niqale ukuza kweliqala ukuzokhangela izinto ezenu kule veki iphelileyo. Ungaqala usichazele nje ukuba kwelicala imeko ibinjani nakwamakhelwane benu ukwehla, ngoba siyabona ukuba anikho kude kakhulu kule ndawo nasemfuleni.
Okay, inkosi sisi. Into eyenzekileyo ngalamini enzika ngayo lamanzi from uba ndicingela kahle ngolwesine uba ndiqikelela kahle. Anyukile amanzi agcwala izindlu. Sabanceda abo sibancedayo. Sibi kakhulu isimo esikuso apha. Kamba abanye abantu abanazindlu ngoku, izindlu zabo bezigqunywe ngamanzi, ezinye ziwile izindlu njengoba nibona nani bakubi apha. Into enzekileyo afika amanzi anyuka kakhulu, angena ezindlini zabantu, abanye bebelele bengaboni bavuswa ke ngabantu bavusiweyo. Kamba ndinabantu ebendibagcine pha endlini mina abebewele ezizindlu. Bathuthile ke apha entsukwini kuba besithi hayi izindlu zabo noko Kristi zishekile ezinye bathutha. Isimo sibila ngosisakhangela bakhangela impahla zabo, ifridge, iwardrobe, ikhabhathi, akho nto ingalahlekanga, nesofa basakhangela abantu abaninzi apha njengoba sibona silapha njengoku sisakhangela.
Butwam xa sisiva ngokwengxelo kuthiwa zikhona ii-families esezinikeziwe imizimba. Ingaba kweli cala lenu bakhona abantu abaziyo abanoko sebeyifumene imizimba njengokuba besike sababona before besentlungwini kakhulu besithi bafuna okokuba bafumane imizimba yabo?
Sisi apha kwicala lethu uyi-1 umzi endiqondayo uba seyifumene ngulula apha ngaphesheya. Abanye ke apha kwicala lethu akho mntu ulahlekileyo. Abantu abalahlekileyo abaninzi bangapha yakamba kusakhangelwa, nathi asihlelanga nje siyazama ujonga because abantu abaninzi bathanda ugqitha apha izidumbu ezininzi sizibone ngokwethu sihleli pha eyadini. Kamba ezinye izilantuza izidumbu zikagqitha apha kuthi, nathi siboka sabona ngelihlo sizawufonela amapolisa.
Bhuti wam, njengoba bendike ndatsho ngaphambili ndisithi anikho kude kakhulu nalapha emfuleni. Besike sathi xa sincokola nabanye abantu kwela cala lakoDikolini sava into babona bathi abasafuni kwa ukuphinde babuyele phaya, and kukhona ke nesithembiso sokuba noko bangamoviselwa kwezinye indawo. Nisezawuqhubeka nina nihlala apha?
Sizoqhubeka sithina sihlala apha because asinandawo sizoya kuyo, because urhulumente angasithutha, uzawusithutha because akazusithutha ngoku, because kona nyani fanele uba kule ndawo asihlali apha because amanzi athi xa nyuka siyazi sisehla uba sawuphinde sehle nini. So sifuna siyacela urhulumente ubunayo i-chance makasithathe apha asibeke kwindawo right.
That is one of the people that were affected by the floods, saying that they came to this river to search for their belongings, and saying that at least they managed to get some of their items. And he's also saying that he's accommodating some of the people that have been affected, because at least his house is still standing, but he is saying that some has left his house going back to their houses, and he's also calling on government to at least remove them to where they are, because he's also saying that this is not an area that they were supposed to be staying at. But let me also bring in another person who is here looking for her belongings. Sisi, okwangoku injani imeko endlini?
Okay ke inkosi ke sisi, okwangoku imeko sisazama uklina udaka apha ngaphakathi ezindlini njengoba besingenelwe ngamanzi ngaphakathi. Sizama ukukhuphe impahla esikwazi uzikhupha, but asikwazanga uzikhupha zonke. Ezinye zimke namanzi umzekelo nam ndiye ndakwazi uba ndifumane itanki lam lamanzi ndalukwazi ulibamba lona sazama ukuncedisana ke nangoku izindlu zethu sacela udaka olu lomthatha den.
Ikhona enye into esenincediswe ngayo ngoba kwezi ndawo abantu baye bathathwa basiwa kuzo kukhona uncedo oluyileyo kubo njengoba nani nisitsho ke ngoku I'm sure akukho kutya endlini, impahla zenu zonke azikho, ii-documents zenu azikho. Ikhona into esenincediswe ngayo nina nisesezindlini zenu?
Ewe beyikhona isenda esiya kuyo phaa ecawe Holy the Church besinikwa ingubo apho sizanyo zifike like i-Shoprite nezinye i-GNF ntontoni zisinike ukutya nefruit namanzi nge-5 liters zize nawo nesibasinika nengubo. Basaqhubeka ke bamane besiza ke bazodonata i-gift and givers sishiyeke ke sikwazi uxhasa umphefumulo. Into ebesicela nje urhulumente ingase angasikhalezela ngezistructure okwangoku esazama indawo yoba asihlalise kuyo sinze uba sisuka apha ecaleni komfula.
Abantwana endlini basaya esikolweni?
Abantwana bethu abasaya esikolweni ngoba baba netrauma kangangoba babede babuze uba mama theba xa ingamki indlu yasekhaya sizaba nalo na ikhaya, xa sibuye esikolweni sizawubuyela phi. So saripota kwitishala sakuba abantwana bethu basothuke ngalamanzi kama noba balele ebusuku bayaphaphazela. But our ward committee uthe nge-16 kuzawubakho ii-social workers ezizonika i-counselling ebantwini nasebantwaneni abathe bachaphazeleka kulamanzi abathe babona kakubi ungena amanzi kwabanye belele.
So azikafiki i-psychologist nisazilindile into abaziza for i-counselling?
Azikafiki sisi-psychologist sizalindile ebethe ward committee ngomso nge-16 ngeJune 16 zizawuza funa siphinde siyodibana apha ehulweni zize kuthi ke ngozozikhansela ne-psychologist sikwazi uba sithuthuzeleke ngokwasemoyeni nala trauma yenzekileyo ebantwaneni uba bangacingi uba la manzi angaphinda aphuma aze emakhayeni wabo azobathatha.
That is one of the residents saying that they managed to get their tanks and they're still looking for other items. She is also saying that her children have not been to school since this ordeal happened, but they reported the matter to the teachers because even at night they cannot sleep. And she's also raising that they haven't received any counseling yet, but they're still waiting because they were promised that they will get counseling tomorrow. It's back to you in studio.
Thank you, Nomzanele, because we're also just looking at the ongoing support and relief measures that are underway, of course, from the different organizations, the community at large, but even just coordinating with the local officials. Talk to us about that coordination at this juncture. How long is it also set to continue until closure is finally, come for all?
At the moment, all we know is that they are still focusing on providing these hot meals, blankets, being assisted by other organizations like Gift of the Givers. After they were saying that after every family received their members and the identification process is concluded, and after that only then they can discuss the burial logistics. And then at the moment that is all that we know. That is the assistance that we know that they gave to these flood victims.
What if I told you a silent storm, one that crept in the dead of night, has now left heartbreak, loss, and chaos across one of South Africa's most vulnerable provinces? No dramatic warning sirens, no countdowns, just rising waters, swallowed bridges, and the helpless cries of families torn apart. Welcome to the heartbreaking reality unfolding in the Eastern Cape right now. The death toll, 88, and counting. In just a few days, what started as a regional weather disturbance turned into a full-blown humanitarian crisis. Mthatha and its surrounding communities woke up submerged, roads cut off, homes washed away, entire families missing. But the worst part, the floodwaters didn't just destroy buildings, they took lives. Among the first on the ground were the real heroes, South Africa's police, health officials, and the incredible team from Gift of the Givers. Together, this multidisciplinary rescue unit sprang into action, mobilizing air and water teams to scour the devastated region. Ahmed Bong, who heads the Gift of the Givers, search and rescue operations gave chilling updates on what they're facing. Bodies being recovered one after another, sometimes found floating together in the same spot, like haunting reminders of how sudden and merciless the flood was. In one particularly eerie scene, while hovering above the Mthatha Dam with the SAPS Airwing, rescuers spotted something suspicious in the water. A diver was dispatched. It was a body, then another, and then, moments later, a third. In that moment, it became painfully clear that this wasn't just a disaster. It was a mass tragedy unfolding in real time. BOM described how their teams, equipped with specialized boats known as crocs, worked tirelessly along the riverbanks. These boats, combined with highly trained K9 units, were deployed to comb through thick vegetation and tricky terrain, hunting for any sign of life or loss. The haunting part, they're still finding people, every day. So far, more than 38 people have been rescued. And that number, thankfully, continues to grow. But for dozens of families across the province, hope is running thin. Many are spending their days in morgues, going from room to room, face to face, trying to identify loved ones who were simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. President Cyril Ramaphosa paid a visit to the area on Friday, not just for optics, but to offer condolences and see the devastation for himself. One of the most harrowing places he visited was the collapsed Efata Bridge in Mthatha. It wasn't just any bridge, it was the very spot where a taxi carrying school children was swept away. 6 learners, their driver, and a conductor, all gone. Just like that, others from that same taxi are still missing. Imagine being a parent, sending your child off to school like any other day, only to receive a call, or worse, see it on the news, that your child was taken by the floods. No time for goodbyes, no warnings, just gone. Minister of Police Senzo Makunu also stepped in, meeting with officers and rescue crews on the ground. On Saturday, he confirmed that the death toll had climbed to 86, only for that number to rise again within hours. That gives you a glimpse into how active and dangerous the situation still is. Every day brings new discoveries, new grief. But it's not just about numbers. Each of those 88 people had a name, a face, a story. Some were children heading to school. Others were workers on their morning commute. Some were elderly residents who simply couldn't escape in time. Their stories deserve to be heard. And here's the part that stings the most. This wasn't the first time the Eastern Cape has been hit hard by flooding, and unless something changes, it won't be the last. Experts have long warned about climate change increasing the frequency and intensity of these disasters. Poor infrastructure, unmaintained drainage systems, and informal settlements near floodplains only make the impact worse. In a way, this tragedy is both natural and man-made. But even in tragedy, the strength of the South African spirit is shining through. Volunteers from all walks of life have joined the rescue effort. Local communities are opening their homes, their kitchens, and their hearts to the displaced. Relief organizations are setting up makeshift shelters and bringing in food, blankets, and clean water. Still, the road to recovery will be long. Beyond the emotional scars, there's the destruction of property, livelihoods, and infrastructure. Schools have been damaged, roads are impassable, many don't know when, or if, they'll return to what's left of their homes. The question now becomes, what happens after the waters recede? Will government follow through on promises of rebuilding and relocating vulnerable communities? Will emergency response systems be strengthened? Will we finally get serious about disaster preparedness in rural provinces? These aren't just political questions. They're matters of life and death. In the coming days, search and rescue operations will continue, intensifying along the rivers and dams still holding the bodies of those who never made it home. And for every life saved, there's a flicker of hope that not all is lost. But South Africa must act. Because no community should be forgotten. No family should bury their child because a bridge gave out. And no parent should have to search a morgue to say goodbye. This is more than a flood. It's a national tragedy. And it deserves more than just a moment of silence. It demands action, empathy, and remembrance. So, if you're watching this, take a moment. Think about the families still waiting for news. Think about the rescuers who haven't slept. And think about how we, as a nation, can stand up, together, before the next wave crashes down.